There is a difference between a dog that has been trained to protect and a dog that has decided to. Aries was a 3-year-old Belgian Malinois who had been trained for exactly nothing. He was family-owned, not working bred, purchased from a responsible breeder by Saoirse and Damien Flores when the dog was 8 weeks old and the baby was not yet a plan. He was obedient, athletic, loyal, and had never been asked to guard anything except the couch, which he guarded from the cat. Their daughter, Nadia, arrived in September. Aries' assessment of the situation took approximately 6 minutes. A thorough olfactory evaluation, followed by a position change that Saoirse noticed only in retrospect. He moved from the bedroom doorway where he had slept to the hallway between the nursery and the top of the stairs. He lay down. He stayed. For 6 weeks he lay in that position every night from the moment the household went to sleep until the first movement of morning. He did not block the hallway. People could pass. He was simply present in the space between the most vulnerable room and the most hazardous structural feature of the second floor. Saoirse had thought it was proximity to her. The nursery was close to the master bedroom, and he had always positioned himself near her. Damien thought it was the novelty of the baby's sounds, which were a rich source of new acoustic information. On week 7, Saoirse was carrying Nadia in the carrier and walked past the top of the stairs. She stumbled on the rug's edge, the rug that had been there for 3 years without incident, that she had walked past daily without a second thought. It was a small stumble, a catch and recover, nothing dramatic. Nadia was fine. Saoirse was fine. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. But Aries was between her and the staircase before she had finished catching herself. Not afterwards. Before, he was positioned between her body and the open staircase as though he had been watching the rug for 6 weeks, as though the stumble had been anticipated rather than witnessed. She stood in the hallway for a moment with the baby in the carrier and the dog between her and the stairs, and thought about the 6 weeks of night positions and the 6 weeks of hallway. Occupancy and the specific geography of where he had chosen to be. The rug was removed that afternoon. The stair grip was checked. A handrail reinforcement was added on the baby's side of the staircase. Damien, who was an engineer and thought about these things, did a full assessment of the second floor's physical hazards with Nadia's mobility trajectory in mind, where she would go as she developed, what the hazards would be at each stage. He said to Saoirse afterward, "Aries was in the right place." She said, "I know," he said. "I mean geometrically. I mean the space he was occupying was the highest risk space on this floor for a parent carrying a baby," she said. "I know. Has your pet ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. They do not know if Aries made calculations. They know he made choices, specific, consistent, geometrically correct choices about where to position himself for 6 weeks. They know that the position he chose was the right one, and they know that he chose it before anyone in the family had done the analysis that would have led them to the same conclusion. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. He still sleeps in the hallway. Nadia is 8 months now. She is beginning to pull herself to standing, which means the staircase question will soon become active in a new way. Aries has, in the past 2 weeks, moved his position slightly, closer to the gate at the top of the stairs. He made no announcement about this. He simply moved. The next story involves a golden retriever who changed his behavior around his owner's medication routine 3 weeks before a crisis nobody anticipated.